Fluorocarbon, braid, mono, there is no best. If there was, everybody would be using it. We're just going to go over every line and the specifics about each one and the best application for that appointed time for fishing. We're going to start with monofilament. It's been around the longest. Everybody knows that. Your dad's dad probably used it. It was created in 1841. Now the pros about this is it stretches. There's a couple pros. It stretches and it floats, but that's also a bad thing. Now, if you're fighting a fish, stretching is a good thing. It may not break the line, you can fight it, you can horse it a little bit more. So that's one bonus about monofilament. Now the bad thing about that is that it's gonna kink, it's gonna twist, it's gonna just get all bulky and messy over time. So it's gonna create backlash, you're gonna be going through a little more line, you're gonna be replacing it, cutting your leaders more so. So that's kind of a downfall about that. Bonus about monofilament is that it floats. Lots of people like topwater fishing, pike, it's absolutely fun. It's the best thing you can do. So it won't be dragging your lure down. So you want it to float on top, on the top of the surface with your lure, and you can be dragging it in. It won't be contradicting anything. It'll have the best action in the water. Bonus again to monofilament is that it's about a quarter of the cost. You can be going through line twice as much. It's not going to cost you as much. Now some of the cons to using monofilament is that it's a little bit thicker. It's not like, let's say, braid. We'll get into that. So it's gonna be the thicker, it'll be some of the thickest line you can buy. So even when it's windy, casting lighter lures, it's actually gonna affect it more than you think, trying to cast into the wind, because sometimes you're on the other side of the lake and you can't help it. So casting may be an issue over time. So that's pretty much the pros and cons to mono. It's still good, it stretches, which can be good and bad. It's not as transparent as your fluorocarbon, and it's a quarter of the cost. Now we get into braid. Absolutely love braid. Reason being, there is zero stretch and there's zero memory, and I think that's a great thing, me personally. On all my rods, our backing is always braid, but then I always go down to a leader using 100% fluorocarbon, depending what we're fishing. Trout, it goes to 6 pound 100% fluoro, or if it's walleye, it could be 10. If they're fighting big walleye, maybe 15. I don't like to go much higher. This is the best thing about braid, if you don't know. I run on my trout rod, it's 6 pound 8/32 suffix braid. Now that is equivalent to 2 pound mono, like this stuff. So it'd be super tiny. And the best thing about that is, the advantage is casting. You can cast so much farther with smaller diameter line, and braid is so much stronger. And let me tell you something, it is absolutely a huge bonus, I think, when you feel everything, every little tug, nibble, anything, it just hits a rod, you just feel instant reaction, and I absolutely love it. But the downfall, it is definitely the most expensive you can buy out of all the line, is braid. Well, I shouldn't say that. Fluorocarbon is up there too. Now, if you like pike fishing, bass, I know lots of you guys like bass. If you're fishing in the weeds all the time, everything, you're going to be hung up a lot more. You could get around sticks, so a stronger line is definitely better for getting your lures back, potentially, and not losing them. So I love braid. All my rods have backing on it. Then I go to my fluorocarbon leader. That's what you know about braid. Now we go on to lovely fluorocarbon. I love it. Now for diameter size, it's not quite as small as your braid, but it is a little bit smaller than mono. Now it does sink, not super fast, but it will sink over time. You don't want to be running this if you're running topwater all the time. I would probably recommend sticking to mono. More resistant to be abrasive resistant, if I'm saying that right. So you can rub it a little bit and then it's not going to break. It'll be a little bit stronger, this line too. Whoa, back up. Fluorocarbon, I don't know if I said this. It's supposed to be transparent, invisible to fish, so that's why people like running fluorocarbon on their rigs, and especially for fishing trout, walleye, like a smarter species, are a little harder to catch. So that's the benefit of using this. So fluoro does not stretch as much as mono. So if you really want to rip that good hook set, maybe you want a stiffer line or just run braid the entire way, you're going to get that good hook set, opposed to if you got a whole backing and a leader of mono, it's going to be a little bit of stretch. You got to give it that extra little rip. So that's a quick rundown of 3 of them. Don't overcomplicate things. They all work. Everybody still uses each line if there's certain application on how they're fishing. It's really that simple. If this video helped you out at all, hit the subscription button and help us out. Thanks.